Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back. Today's video is all about the 89 C4, and the first order of business is an emissions test. It's that time of year again, and for me it's always a little nerve-wracking getting emissions tests done on older cars because you just never know what's gonna happen. I keep telling myself that if the Mustang, which has 444,000 miles, can pass emissions, so can the 89, but we'll see. Havoline Express Lube. This place has kind of become my go-to for emissions because they're so fast. All done, she passed. So that's awesome. That literally took less than 10 minutes. Every time I come here, my emissions tests take about 10 minutes, which is good for me, but not for them because that means they are not that busy. I love this car. I just installed this front license plate panel, and as you can see, it looks pretty good, but the color doesn't match, which is what I was afraid of. I actually bought this from a subscriber, and based on our conversation, we felt like the color would be fine, but now that I have the panel on the car, it is not fine. So I'm probably gonna have to have this painted, which sucks, but it kind of is what it is. You probably can't tell that the color is off from this angle. So let me move the car so this panel is in the sunlight and you should be able to see it a little bit better. And also the car is super dirty, so sorry about that. There you go. There's a better angle for you. You can tell the color is totally different. It's unfortunate, and as I mentioned before, I'll have to get it painted to match the rest of the car. But on the other hand, when I was looking for one of these panels, I kind of knew it was unlikely to find one that matched exactly. So I kind of figured that I would have to have one painted anyway. This was kind of expected, but kind of not. More to come on this. I'll keep you guys posted. I've been working on a couple things off camera. I just removed the HVAC programmer from underneath the dash on the driver's side. As I've mentioned in a few previous videos, the heat on this car doesn't work, and I've tried a couple things to fix it without any luck. I've replaced the HVAC controller unit as well as the blend door motor, and unfortunately the heat still doesn't work. So that basically leaves the programmer as the issue, in my opinion. So I've taken it out and I'm gonna send the unit to Brian Thompson at batty.com so he can take a look at it and repair it if needed. I definitely want everything to work on this car, so this is just a step in making that happen. Hopefully Brian sees an issue and he can fix it, and that'll get the heat going again. Here's a look up underneath the dash, right above the gas pedal. This programmer just sits right up here. It's not too difficult to get out. You do have to kind of stand on your head and finagle it a little bit, but it's definitely doable, just not that enjoyable. So now I'm gonna package the programmer up and ship it out, and I'll be sure to keep you guys posted on this. Another thing I did was replace the weather strip pieces on either side of the roof panel. These old ones were pretty chewed up, so they were ready to be replaced. I think these new ones turned out nice. They're really easy to install. There wasn't much to see, so I just went ahead and did it off camera. I believe they're Corvette America brand, and I'm pretty happy with them. All right, guys, I'm just taking the 89 back to the garages. I'm gonna swap it out for the ZR1, and then I will tell you what's going on with the Carfax. So when I first bought this car, I did not pull a Carfax report because I felt like the car was in good shape and everything seemed to check out. One night earlier this year, I was bored and thought it'd be fun to pull the Carfax report for this car so I could learn a little bit more about its history. And I'm glad I did because there are some interesting things on here. We're gonna go through the report in detail, but before we do, here are some of the highlights. As you can see, there is a branded title alert due to mileage. There are no accidents or damage reported. There's at least one open recall. There are 8 service history records, and there are 36 detailed records available. Moving down to the first section, which is title history, there are no salvage, junk, rebuilt, fire, flood, hail, or lemon alerts. There's only that alert for the mileage. I just want to correct one comment that I made in a previous video. I said that the title might be a salvage title, but as you can see from this report, that was incorrect. According to Carfax, it's a branded title. Here is some additional history. As you can see, everything looks good in this section except for the odometer or mileage issue, and there is an open recall. Moving on to the detailed history section where everything is going to start to make sense, you can see that the car started life in New Jersey. And for those who don't know, I did make a video about this car's beginnings, and there is some interesting history there. So if you missed that video, I highly recommend checking it out. I'll link it in the corner here as well as the description below. Also on this page, you can see the open recall that has been mentioned. Looks like in October of 1991, a safety recall was issued for the left and right side seatbelt retractors. It's pretty crazy that the owner at the time didn't take the car into the dealership to have the recall taken care of. And I'm not quite sure what to do about it now, 30 years later. I don't know if there's anything Chevy can or will do, but I guess my first step would be to call them. And if you guys have any thoughts or suggestions, be sure to drop them in the comments below. Moving on down, you can see that this is where all the flags come up about the mileage. You'll see why here in a minute, but just note that in October of 1993, the mileage was just under 19,000, and in April of 1999, the mileage was over 97,000. Another interesting thing about these entries is the car starts to bounce around a little bit. It goes from New Jersey to Utah to Wyoming and then back to Utah. Continuing on, there are a few records here that aren't very noteworthy. Now, here are the records that I believe explain the mileage issue. So remember that in April of 1999, the mileage was over 97,000. And here in March of 2009, the mileage is under 50,000. Pretty interesting, right? So in my opinion, it's pretty clear that there was a clerical error in April of 1999, and that is what has caused the branded title alert on this report. The report even mentions that a clerical error is a possibility, and if you follow the mileage from start to finish, it's pretty obvious that that is what happened. The odometer currently shows about 81,000 miles, and I have no doubts that that is correct. Pretty crazy though, right? Moving along, the records that you see here show a few interesting things. The first is that on November 2nd, 2011, the door weather stripping was repaired. That's kind of a weird thing to repair, and I wonder if it was one door or both doors. I wonder if it was a simple repair or if the weather stripping was completely replaced. And also, you'll notice that on that day, November 2nd, 2011, there are 2 entries for the same repair at 2 different dealerships. So that is pretty odd. I'm not quite sure what to make of that. And if you look further down, in October of 2014, the color of the car was noted as silver, which is interesting. The car is not silver. It never has been silver. So this must be another one of those clerical errors. Apparently, it's difficult to document simple things correctly. Continuing on, not much to see here other than someone continues to note that the color of the car is silver. These are the last entries that I'll show you. There's not much to mention here other than in September 2019, you'll notice that the car was sold, and it was me that took ownership of the car at that time. There you go, guys. That's the Carfax report for the 89. Obviously, there are a lot of discrepancies in the report, but I'm 100% confident I have a solid car. I have a clean Utah title in hand, and these discrepancies are just simple errors. That's going to do it for this video, guys. I want to thank you so much for watching. I thought this report was very interesting and wanted to share it with you. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. I'll see you guys in the next one.